Good morning, my friends. Welcome back to my channel. It's Belinda here from Visualized NZ, and I'm going to have a wee play today. So I hope you join in with me, craft along. Whether you're doing the same project or not, it's good to have your company. And today I am going to play with these index cards. Now I have a small confession to make. I have never in my life played with an index card. Do you find that hard to believe? Well, it is true. I forgot I even had these. I picked them up at a junk shop, so they're already damaged and stained and, flawed, I guess you would say. But we're going to have a play today, and I'm going to make these. So these are like a faux specimen index card, I guess, or catalogue card, something along those lines. And I just thought it was really fun. So I've left the back for writing, so it can be written on. Even though it's all crinkly and bumply, there's your new word for the day, bumply, it's absolutely possible to write on it. And I thought they're fun, and I haven't done anything, distressed anything to this degree before, so that was fun as well, just to have a play. So for this, index cards. If you don't have index cards, then any cardstock, you could probably even do it with paper, maybe a heavier paper, but something as a base. And I think these are generally around 4x6, I think. Yeah, 4x6 inches is what we're working with. You don't need to use an index card. You could use whatever you like. Stamps, whatever you've got in your stash, kind of fun, texty, scripty, numbers, whatever you've got, make it up as you go along. I'm just grabbing stamps from different sets and playing, and a lot of these ones in particular are recent additions. So it took me years before I had something like that. So if you don't have those, just experiment with what you do have, and it will be all good. So I need a drop paper to work with first. And first up, I like to take a card and scrunch and scrunch. So if you're working with paper, just go gently. Don't go too hard, because you don't want to put holes where you don't want holes. You want to be able to control where the damage has. So I've ripped that, and that's good. We're just going to take a little chink out of there. I might even rip it slightly higher. So if you end up tearing, don't despair. It is perfectly good. But, if you're working with paper, then you might not want to go too hard. So I've got another tear there. I'm going to leave that one without a chink out of it, but just still torn. And again, I'm going to just tear it a little bit further up there. And I like to do 3 pieces of damage around the edge, if you like. So I've got 2 in the bottom. Let's do 1 up the top here. And I'm just going to take it and take just the tiniest wee sliver out. You don't have to take a sliver out. You can just leave it in. You can roll it back, which is what I'm going to do with this one down here. I'm just going to, it's quite hard with the cardstock, just kind of crease it back on itself. And this bit was so badly torn that it eventually came off during its lifespan. So we're just giving it a whole bunch of age. Then I'm just dressing around the outside and going into those tears, making them nice and dirty. I'm using vintage photo. Again, if you don't have vintage photo, whatever ink you've got will do. If you don't have a brown ink, because I think brown's probably best, but if you don't have brown, then you could use watercolor pencils or markers. Just get creative, my friends. Don't let lack of a particular supply stop you. Just think what else you've got that will do the job instead. That's all there is to it, and I actually think it stretches your creativity if you don't have all the supplies. It forces you to experiment and think, well, I love the look, it looks fun, how can I achieve it with what I've got? And I think it's really important to, you know, to use what you've got, to find ways of using what you've got in new and exciting ways, and you'll never know when you'll come across a really fabulous result, unexpected result, and you could end up showing a whole heap of other people because you discovered something new. Right, so now I'm going to rub my sponge just with the ink that's on it across the surface, and it's going to pick up those creases. And I'm going to do it both sides. This is something where you don't have to be careful at all. It's quite freeing actually, just to go for your life, go for gold. Got lots of crumbs happening. Now I did wonder whether doing this would be easier to do after I do the next step, but I actually like doing it this way round. So if you find it would be easier doing the next step that I do first and then doing the scrunching, by all means you do it. So the next thing I've got here is an encyclopedia. It's an encyclopedia of New Zealand, and it's 1966, and all the illustrations and the photographs are black and white. So I've been through and put little post-it tabs on the pages with botanicals. Well, that's got a botanical on each side, so I'm just going to rip that page out. You could use anything you like for this. It doesn't need to be black and white. You could go colour if you like. I like the idea of the black and white. To me, it just gives kind of an old look. But I'm sure colour would work beautifully as well. Right, now I don't want to go all the way across because I don't want to end up damaging the other image on the other side. So I'm just tearing it out with a ruler. As you can see, I don't really need to say that when you can actually see what I'm doing perfectly well. Now this one doesn't have a title down the bottom, whereas this illustration actually had the name of the plant on the bottom. This one doesn't, and that's okay. It's just going to be slightly different. Right, so we've torn out, actually I might as well go ahead and tear this one out while we're here. I don't know if I'll get a couple done in this video, but we'll tear it out. This one again doesn't have the name. So just work with what you've got. You might have calendar images or magazine images or what have you, just whatever. You might print something off the internet. That would work perfectly well also. Okay, so next I take the sponge to the edge of this. Oops, it's very thin paper, as encyclopedia paper tends to be. Here we go, and I'm going to just give it a bit of a scrunch as well, and then just give it a bit of a light rub, bit of a dirty up, and that's going to help it look like it was part of the card all along that got damaged. And now I'm going to flatten some of those out with the gluing of it, and that's okay too. We can scrunch again. We can scrunch as many times as we like, because even though some of that gluing process is smoothing out the wrinkles, you can still see them. They're still there, even if they're not as defined. So smooth it out around all the creases and things, and then I take it and give it another careful scrunch, because the glue is not dry yet, just to get it kind of some of those creases happening the same. There we go. So probably wisdom would say wait till the glue's dry, but that's okay. We're just playing, it doesn't matter. Okay, so I like to have a bit of script, you know, like somebody's written a piece about the plant that they've found, and I don't know what these scripts say, it doesn't really matter. It's just a bit of texture, bit of detail. So I'm going to use this one. It's a different one than what I used for the first one that I did, the test run. Oh, I'm starting to get a bit cold. Fire's dying. This one I struggle to get the right way up, and I would prefer to have it the right way up. So let me check the packaging. So it goes that way. Okay. So I'd prefer to have it, you know, if you can read some of it. And I don't want the whole stamp, so I'm going to grab a bit of this book page that I tore off and pop it underneath, because we just want a portion of that. And I'm using coffee ink. I use coffee for this one. I'm wondering, should I use black? Just to see what it looks like. You know, a different effect. Here it is. Lost my black ink pad. Just so that, you know, you might not have different colours of ink. So let's use black, because I think most people probably have black in their craft stash. And if they don't have black, I'm kind of wondering why not, because it's just like such a useful colour. Right. And you don't have to get perfect with this stamping. In fact, a bit of imperfection is a very beautiful thing. See, there we've got some imperfection happening. And I do like the black. I think the black works well. So we'll do this one in black. Right, so pop that. Right, now we get to play with one of my newer stamp sets, which I used on this other card. And I think I'll try and use some different ones to what I used on the other one. So maybe this one. This one is a different one. I haven't used it, so, or not used it on here anyway, on one of these. So let's put this one on. It says collect at the top, and then the rest it's got a number and I don't know, and identification check at the bottom. Doesn't really matter what they say, it's just all building up to a picture. So we're going to pop that one up there. I don't even care whether it's straight or not. Awesome. I think that looks good as gold. And then I will use some of the same stamps because I think they're very cool. We've got this, where is it gone? This one, it's like a catalogue number. And I want to use that one because I like it. But this time, a bit of paper, I'm going to put it up here and I'm going to stamp it across that hole. So we lose a number. We're actually losing the number 1 or part of the number 1 because it's been torn off in its life. See that? So you get to play. Just play. It's fun. I'm having fun. Hope you're having fun. I hope you're having a wonderful day too, whatever you're up to. Right, so we've got a catalogue number. I think I want a round one. So let's pop a round one on this one. I didn't have a round one on the other. This has also got a number. Number 7859. What else does it say? Dispatcher. It sounds more like a mail thing or a store, you know, warehouse type thing or something, but I don't care. It's going right there. Perfect. Perfectly imperfect. Okay, so that's that one. What else would we like to put on here? There's a receipt, filed. We could put a filed on it. And let's do that in a different colour. So maybe red. Or I can't find red offhand, so let's just use aged mahogany because it's a reddy brown. So let's use that one. Oops, I've got some ink on the back of my block there. Right, so let's do this. I've been playing with alcohol markers. I've got some alcohol marker on my finger there. It's not a bruise. Right, where do we want to put the filed? Maybe overlapping this round, whatever you call it, seal, stamp, mark. Okay, so we've got filed. Right, we've got some gaps to fill up, haven't we? So let's see what we might like to put in there. Used this stamp on the other one, but I think I might use it here as well. Just different placement. So there's a little frame stamp. Pop that down here. And then a little agent identification number. So it's agent 1929. And I'll do that also in the aged mahogany to make it look like it was added at a slightly different time, the different stamp. So some of it was done out in the field and some of it was done in the office, and then some was done by the secretary when it was all filed. Kind of building up your story on how it's all come about. Okay, so we need something up here. What would we like to put up there? Maybe a bit of splatter. Let's try some splatter. Pop that one back on there, and let's try this one, which is a different splatter to what I used on the other card. And we're going to use the coffee colour for this, because somebody spilt their coffee on it. Just putting some little details there. And we still need something up here, I feel. So what have we got that we could fit? I think it needs a little bit of darkening up as well. So let's go in with some more. Try and hit those creases a bit more. This one's, oh, I missed a step. On the other one, I'd actually run over the whole thing with the sponge just lightly to take off that white, and I forgot to do that. I just hit the creases, but that's all right. We can do it now. No particular order, my friends, just whatever order you like. Forget a step, just do it later. It's all good. Let's just give this a bit more of a dirty up as well while we're here. I mean, it's definitely not as white as what it was. Like, it's very easy to see the difference, isn't it? Now, the other one, this one that I did first, I also sprayed it with water. But it doesn't actually absorb the water very readily. It repels it. So I had to end up dabbing it with a tissue. And that took off most of the colour that I'd applied. So I didn't bother with this one with the water because I felt like it didn't do anything. It just actually created an extra step, 2 steps that weren't required. Okay, I do still want something up there. So what? That is the question. I'm looking around at my various stamps. Don't really want to put a bug up there because it's about this plant. No, they're kind of the wrong thing. Okay, I've got this sort of like scratch mark stamp. I did put this on the other one. So maybe we'll do this one again. And I'm going to use the vintage photo for this. And just put a few like scratch marks around the place, just lightly. Adds to the distressed look. And I still want something up there. I can't let it go. So maybe this one, it says, I haven't used it. If I can get it off the plastic. Here we go. It says Form LA 434, something like that. Doesn't really matter what it says. We are going to use it. Make sure it's up the right way and back in the black. And just right there. There, that makes me happier. That gap was just a little too gappy. The gap was too gappy. Yep, it was. Right, and is there anything else we want? We could add something down here if we wanted to. Might as well put some of these stamps away while I'm looking. Maybe this one. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It says corresponding order. Doesn't have to make sense. Just like me. A lot of the time, I don't make sense. Right, and again, I'm going to stamp it over that chink. So we lose part of one of the letters. Awesome. Yes, I think that was perfect. Right, so there we go. We have had a play. I do hope you played along with me. I hope you enjoyed having a wee play. I am not going to do a second one because I'm getting quite cold and I don't want to have to relight the fire. So I'm sorry, the fire is winning out at the moment. I need to go see to it. But there we go. A distressed index card that you can pop into would really suit a botanical journal, a nature journal, a vintage journal even, a grungy journal, you know, wherever you would like to put it. An eclectic journal would fit as well. Just a note on this one too, I tore this and the tear didn't actually go as far as this, so I tore into this as well and made it bigger so that it just kind of went into the image, just to make it a bit more, I guess, seated, the image seated into the card a bit more, if that makes sense. So just giving it a bit more of a dirty up. So imperfect stamping. nice and grungy and dirty and filthy and fun, and also very textural, like all those creases just make it actually really nice to feel. And then if you wanted, you could spray it with water and then just let it sit and do its thing. Because I've used Distress ink, I do know that these green lines run with water, so that's going to happen, and I'm not too worried. So I'm just going to give it a tap there, make the water move around a bit, and then I'm just going to let it sit, and if the ink moves, it does. If it doesn't, it's all good. It'll just dry off and be like it was before I sprayed it. But absolutely don't spray it with water if you don't want to, or if you are using a light paper where that might get damaged in a way you don't want it to be damaged. So there we go, my friends. I made one off camera and one on camera, and I see how this is moving too, because that's Distress ink. Don't mind it going blurry at all. It just adds to that authentic sort of quality. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for joining me. Take care. Have a fantastic afternoon or evening, whatever part of the day you're in, and I'll catch you again soon. Bye for now.